Welcome everybody, how are you? Bienvenidos a todos, ¿cómo están? Please let me know if the audio is good. I think that we're good. Okay, friends. So today we are going to do the recap. This weekend I couldn't do the recap because I was busy doing other things. So today we're going to do that, and with that we finish this project. We already finished the project. The recap is just like an extra to explain the whole process that we did to complete this. Okay. Also, I was doing some research the weekend, the time at night. I just only had time at night, so I'm still with the trying to see what kind of project we're going to create. Remember that I create a poll to let you choose what you want for the next project, and with 60% I think the third option won, or the second option I think, the 3D environment. So I didn't have a plan for that, and I am going to take the suggestion of Girish. He said, he wrote in the comments that he would like to see something like abandoned zombie city, and he told me like something like The Last of Us. Okay, I was doing some research. The thing is, I am trying to figure out how to create that project, because I don't want to create something hyper realistic like AAA games. I don't want only to create just the render, because most of, for example, if I only focus on the render, you just, for example, try to create, let's say that this is the camera. Okay, the view. You're only going to have one view, maybe 2 buildings, 3 buildings, and the rest of the destroyed cities, some props, something like that. But I'm trying to say just only the props and the things that you're going to see in the camera, and around nothing. I don't want something like that. Of course, we can create a bigger environment, but the thing is, what with that is that maybe you don't like something like that because it will take too much time, and I can see that you don't like projects that last too much time. Remember that we are here only 2 hours and a half. If this project is going to take too much, I'm going to try to do only YouTube at the morning, so the whole morning we're going to be here, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, and try to do the Kick and Twitch live streams at night, maybe, or at evenings. That is the other option, and with that we have more time here in live stream, but less time for me to work in other projects. Of course, remember that if I have something that is going to take me too much time, and I'm being paid, I'm going to be paid for that. That is going to be my priority in this case, so I have to stop with all of this until I finish the task. What else? So please, if you have any suggestions, any I don't know, references, please share that to the Discord channel. I'm going to try to create something with multiple buildings, with multiple props, but not too big, and that allow us to focus only on that part of the scene, and you can create a render for multiple parts of the project. We're going to create a path with the camera to like to walk through the scene, an animation with that, but so with that in mind, we need to to see what kind of project we can create that is going to also maybe let you choose between allow you to maybe use that for games. Okay, but okay, that is only maybe at the end of the stream we're going to talk about that again. Okay, so let's focus now on the Hawkgirl project. Okay, so as always, I start with I do read the recap. I start with the first file and try to explain all the things that we did through the process of this project. Okay, let's see if we can do the recap in these 2 hours. So as always, I'm going to turn off my camera, of course, and you can focus only on the screen on Blender. Okay, so let's get started. Remember also that with this project was really I don't know. The thing is, why I am a little bit concerned about the next project is that I don't have an idea. And when I don't have an idea of what to do, things like this happen. And with this, at least it is one thing. With this environment, we can do a lot of things. Things like this, and I am talking about that you start with something and you end with another idea, with a completely different idea, or not completely different, but something more big, and by that I mean that you're going to use more time. Maybe with this project it's going to be different, because by creating props, creating buildings, maybe it's going to be a little bit different. So here we just only focus on one character, but with the other project we can maybe one day create some cars, some buildings, textures. We're going to do a lot of things, but remember, I don't want to be like this like a year of work. Also, the strategy that I usually use is going to be like creating kits. I think that most of the artists that create 3D environments for games, of course, create kits. With the kits, they have the option to just create some like assets and create a complete environment in the game engine. That is also why they do those kind of things. Okay, but let's stop talking about that project and focus on this. So here we started with one idea, like always, just one character. But during the process, when I create a pose that I really like for Hawkgirl. But I thought that I was like, okay, with that pose, I have the option to create just a base, and I was wrong, because I create something similar to another artist, a comic artist, of course, a 2D artist, and I don't want it to copy. So I with the suggestions of some people here, maybe Girish was, I don't remember. No, I think that it wasn't Girish. I don't remember. Someone here in the community suggested me to create something like the final thing that we created at the thing that we did at the end, and I had something similar in mind, so I decided to do that. But the project became more bigger, and I understand that some of you stopped watching the streamings. You didn't like, maybe it was some kind of bored. But again, my friends, if you are going to do something in this level of complexity and with this limited time, that is what is what is going to take these hours, this effort, and you need to understand that. I know that in these times you have like TikTok, those kind of social media content that you want just 2 minutes and swap the screen. That is maybe something addictive, and maybe you're going to let this kind of actions like make you feel happy for a moment, but you need to understand that at the end that is not good for you, and things are not like that. I know now with AI, you just only saw the final results or the recap or the time lapses, and you think that these kind of things are like 1 week, 2 weeks. Maybe there are artists are like very, very talented and can do something like that, or the stream the full day, maybe more hours. This is not the case. I'm here. You can see here with me how I work in this project, how I made mistakes, how I came with an idea and then later I changed that because I don't like it, because some of you said maybe this is better, and we try things. The streaming here is when you the good thing about this is when you participate, because if I am here just showing you a tutorial of how I created that is not good. I think that is not something that you will, maybe you have a ton of content about that, but here we create a project and we made step by step, starting with the idea until the end of the project. And let me add the final project here. Just I created this render. This is the final project, just in case. No, I think that at the end we're going to see that. Okay. Okay. So with that being said, I think that it's time to start. So again, I'm going to close my camera to hide the camera, and you can focus on the screen. Okay. So let's get started. Camera. Okay. One moment, please. Okay, friends, so we are back. So the original project was this. We created just like we did before. We started with an idea. We started, for example, with Son Goku, with Hulk. We said, let's create a new character. And this started with a poll to you choose between different female comic characters, and Hawkgirl was the winner. I did some research and I wanted to create Shayera Hol. Shayera Hol is the second Hawkgirl, because you can if you follow comics and those kind of stories, you can see that multiple times, I mean through different generations, sometimes they like recreate the characters, recreate their stories, and that was the case for Hawkgirl. This was the second Hawkgirl. Later she was known as Hawkwoman. In this case she is from the I don't remember the name of the Thanegan, of a planet, okay? I don't remember the name of the planet. She was of an alien, if we can say that. And why is this important? Because later the base and all those things are going to be, also the enemy is going to be related to that. So that is why let you know about the context of the project. So this was the character. You can see that I made the references was the classic colors, the classic. Let me see if I have here the classic. No, I think no. Yes, here. Look, the classic colors. This was the second one, I think. Yes, Hawk Woman. She is Shayera Hol. She is Shayera Hol. So this is the Hawkgirl that we choose as an inspiration for our project. The red hair and all of those details. Okay. Of course, that I made more research to have, because also another special thing about this project. This was an original design. This was my original design of this character. Okay, this is my version of the character. Okay, so this was the idea, this was the concept, and I wanted to choose an actress, and famous actress model, I think that is, she's a model, for the inspiration of the human traits of the face in this case, and she's Barbara Palvin, I think. So I choose her as the reference for the human. I create this block out of the wings like this. At this point, I didn't have an idea of how I was going to create the wings. Believe me, I really had no idea, but I knew that I should use a process that let me, at least for a moment, make this faster, if we can say. So this was the blocking. As you can see, human. I select the comic proportions, I think, with some of the realistic proportions. So you can see here. For this project, I think that I selected. In the next project, we're going to talk about the bones. So this was the blocking of the character, the human proportions. Remember that I always, when I create the sculptures, I always like to create the blocking in the standard pose, if we can say like that, and I always try to choose references that allow me to follow these proportions. Later, when I change when I create the final pose, I understand that the proportions are going to vary, but at least we have like a starting point. That's why I always do this, and for me, it is the best way to. I know that maybe other artists go directly to the final pose. That's okay. In my case, with this, I feel that I have the control to do things in a better way. Please let me know if we're good with the transmission, because I think that we're having some troubles here. Maybe the internet connection is failing. Please let me know if you don't follow what I am saying, okay? Okay, so this was the blocking. Let's close this and open the next file. Let me go here. We create a lot of files here. I cannot even save this in my external disk, because my external disk, the format is like for Mac and Windows, but I selected the limited version, if I can say it like that, because I can only move files below 4 gigas, and so all these files I am having this in my computer. Okay, this was the first blocking. Let's open the next file. Don't save. Let's open the next file. The face. Here I'm going to talk about the human traits. Okay, so I chose. It is not exactly. I know it's not looking like Barbara Palvin, but I chose her. These traits are going to change later. This was just like a starting point. I chose her as the reference for her face. I thought that between a lot of artists, for me, she is perfect for the cast inspired by the cartoon version, of course. And for me, she was a really, really great option. Of course, that she never played, I don't know, if maybe in a cosplay, Halloween costume, something like that. But for me, she was perfect for this role. Her face, so I chose her as the reference to create her face. Again, this was just a starting point. Her face is going to change later. As you can see, we started to create the human traits here. I think that I changed a little bit the rest of the blocking. I don't remember. I really don't remember. So this was the face, okay? She was my reference. Look here. For example, this cartoon version, I thought in my mind, for me, she was perfect for this style, okay? Her face was perfect for this role. So I selected her as my reference for the face. This was just a starting point. Again, I changed this later. Improve it. This, yes. Okay. So let's continue with the next file. Let's open the next file. Number 3. Okay, next file. So here I started to create some blocking of the suit, of her suit. As you can see here, this was the blocking of the wings. This was not the starting point of the wings. This was just blocking to have something here and to use it as a reference of how she's going to look with the armor that I was creating for her, the complete suit. We used our technique that using SVG models files to create the logo. Let me see. I think that I changed here or no. No, at this time I didn't change here or I changed this. I don't remember. No. I already changed. I already improved. I make these 4 edges. Remember that this is not necessary for a sculptor. If you have triangles and those kind of things, when you do a remesh when you merge something and do a remerge or what is a decimate? None of this is going to matter because you're going to have a good piece and maybe with a lot of triangles. Maybe you can say, okay, so why you waste time doing these things? It is not a waste of time, friends. It is, for example, an exercise for you. It is like some kind of practice when you really need to create pieces, maybe in another project, where you really don't need triangles. You need the 4 edges, faces. You need 4 edges. So that was kind of like an exercise. Maybe in the future we're not going to waste time with that. But that's why I do that in that way. You can check how I created that. So this was a logo. I was inspired for this also by this reference, this one, but I wanted to have her cover, so I don't like copy this. Look, more references. Why I didn't have this, why I covered this part later, because the Hawkgirl that has not this part cover is the third version. The first version I think that is similar to the second one, so that's why. Maybe in the cartoon version you also have this, but look, in the full costume it was more like this. So I was trying to create something like this, and a little bit of like realistic. Look, like this. So I created the armor. I decided that she is going to have some armor here, some armor here, The hair, the helmet. Look at the helmet. Inspired by this, inspired by this. I also had some other references for the helmet. Let me see if I have that. No, I think that I don't have. Let me see. No, those references are not here. There were I found some other references from cosplays for people creating for costumes. I don't know. I really don't know. But I selected those images for references of the helmet. So trying to follow again. I'm creating here my original design, but of course following the original version, something like this. Here you can see that the face was going to change a little. So later, I think that maybe here I also improved the face, or maybe I changed, I don't remember. Here I think that I made a mistake or not, because I already merged the arms. I don't know why. Maybe I was sure about I don't know why I merged this. Maybe I was sure about that the arms were going to be in this position, so maybe that's why I merged already, like the final version. I don't know, I really don't remember. And the mace, the weapon, because remember that she has a weapon. Also following the original design, but also I was inspired by this with the spikes. Here I have more. Look at this one. Maybe this was my main reference for the weapon, so that's why I created up looking like this, following this style where she's going to hold the weapon with this kind of strap. I think that was the also the boots look. I wanted to add this zip detail to make it like a little bit more realistic. Following, I also was inspired by the Marvel Rivals style. That here you can see. Look, the zip. Here is like you have like let me think. Here is like you have some realistic aspect, but following the comic style. So I wanted something similar for my character. Also was inspired by this. The live action. No, I didn't like, for example, the suit that she was wearing in the last Superman movie. I didn't like that. Those live action costume suits are not for me. They not look good. This look more like a TV show. For example, like Arrow, like the Flash. Those suits are more like that. Or for example, X-Men, the first movies, the one from the 2000. They tried to make this more realistic, and they change a lot from the original design. I don't like that, so I try to create something original, based on the original design, of course. Okay, next file. Here I also was deciding to create about to play with like leather or cloth and metal armor. I wanted to play between those two options for the whole suit. Okay friends, so here we are with the next part of the project. Here you can see that I already moved the weapon to her hand, because I was going to start with the armature. Remember that I showed you like 3 ways to create final poses. Okay, The first option is just use spheres, for example, like this. Let me show you. Like these spheres, use this as pivot points. So I just parent the shapes and then rotate it in local transform. That is a way that I use to create poses for the sculptures. The other one is bones, armature, and the third one is the one that I don't like to. We use the third one. I remember that we use the third one, yes, for the enemy. That is directly go to the final pose. Start moving all the pieces to the final pose. Okay, so maybe with the third one, with the character, with the enemy, we use the two ways. We use the spheres, and we use the what is the other one? The directly moving to the final pose. At this point, I thought that the simple base was something like this. That's why I created this. I was wrong later, because this was not the base. As you can see, I added more details to the armor. I think no, just the zip. I didn't add the zip. No, I think that at the final pose I created the zips for the forearms. I think that I changed a little bit the face, and I also created an armature for the wings, but this was not what I have in mind for the wings. I use another technique. So let's continue with the next one. Don't save, let's go with pose. Okay friends, so as you can see, now we are like moving more close to our final design. So I decided to have like this kind of, and look, at this point I was saying, I'm going to create a base, and she's supposed to create to stay here over something, a rock, something like that. That was the original design, but later we changed a lot. So this is like the pose that I decided. I really like look, this pose. This was like something for me. This project, this show to the people that she's like strong, but at the same way like she has mercy, or show you mercy. We know that Hawkgirl is not like that. She's very a fierce warrior. She's very offensive. I mean, always like to attack. Offensive, I don't know if that is the word, but she always like to stay with an attack mode. Attack. Sometimes she's fragile in some like emotional moments. I think that she has she had a romance with Green Lantern in the Justice League cartoons. I don't remember about those cartoons. And then later the Hawkman appeared. I don't remember, but I think that the original story for her, it was like she was like a police officer from her planet. I don't remember the name of the planet, and she and Hawkman like came to the Earth to learn maybe some techniques from here, from our forces. I don't know what they were going to learn, but that is like the story, the story of the couple in this case. But I also remember that in Smallville they said that, or also in the movie, in the Black Adam movie, that Hawker and Hawkman like died. They were like ancient gods. I think that is the first option, the first Hawker. Like they were, oh no, that is the third one. They were like ancient Egypt gods, something like that, and they like died, and once in a while they die and then like resurrect again, something like that. I don't remember. So trying to express those emotions but not let you like showing that she's fragile. She's emotional, but she's also strong. She is like show you mercy, but at the end she's going to punish you if you are, of course, in the bad path. Something like that. That's why I love this pose. I also thought about angels. Here in Catholicism, we have some figures, for example, angels. I don't remember the name because I don't practice the religion, but I remember that you have like a warrior angel. Some angels are shown like that. Also, of course, those figures are inspired by the Greek gods. But I was inspired by those references. Okay, so one moment please, and we'll continue. Okay, let's continue. One moment. Okay, friends, so we are back. I was showing you the post, my inspiration for the pose. Look, for me this pose was perfect. I really love this. Like trying to show you mercy, but at the same time she's going to apply justice. Look, her weapon. She's letting the weapon like to fall, to slide from her hand to here at the end. And she's going to letting the weapon to go here and then hold it fiercely and attack you, something like that. That is what I wanted to project. Later we follow like a little bit that, but it changed a little. Okay, so let's continue. Fixing proportions, let me see. Here we started. Look. Okay, here I started to merge the body proportions, the body parts, and I started to sculpt the muscles, those kind of things. Like she's not wearing anything. Look, the female body proportions I started to sculpt. Also I added more details to the suit, trying to make it realistic. I play with curves. These are curves. Play with modeling for the look. Also the boots, more details here to the weapon. No, the weapon. Here, for example, I changed this. The helmet. I think that I change a little bit the proportions, just of the face too. So yes, in this part of the process, we focus on that. We didn't have the wings yet, because for the wings I am not going to show you because you already have the files and all that, but I'm going to explain you what I did. I'm going maybe only to focus on the main files, okay? On the main files, because we created a lot of files. Remember that I always work with local transformation. I always use that. I also created a design here for the belt. At the end I was thinking about creating something original here, but at the end I just leave this piece like that. I didn't have something extra in mind. Here, look at the back, at her back. I was like letting some space here to make this to make sense that she has her wings, but the suit is not going to affect or damage the wings. One thing, also for the wings, let me see, I had also a lot of references. Look, references from birds, references from angels. Also I needed to I'm going to explain this later, okay, when I go to the wings, maybe in the next project. Or maybe I should show you the file for the wings. I don't know. Okay, this was at this part of the process. I also look, I changed this face later. I remember I changed this face later. Okay, like that. You can see proportions, more details. Let's continue. Wings and polish. Let's go with the final file, because I create the wings in a separate file. As you can see, the PC is going to take a little bit more of time because the files are getting bigger and bigger. Okay friends, so here finally we finish the wings. So to create the wings I use geometry nodes. With geometry nodes I created like, look, a standard pose for the wings. I understand that I needed 4 bones or 3 bones, I don't remember, like 1, 2, 3, like that. So you have like the 1, 2, 3. I use geometry nodes. For the geometry nodes I created multiple versions of wings, of feathers. As you can see here, the designs, the style, I created different feathers for each row of feathers. For example, here we have like three look at this. For example, look, this one is different from this one. You see, the same for each feather. I'm trying to make it less detail when we move to the border of the feather, to the main part where the bones of the feathers are going to be. I play a lot with different feathers. We play with geometry nodes, and after I finish the geometry nodes, the standard version of the geometry nodes that I choose, because that is not my method, I follow the tutorial of another artist. I share with you the tutorial in the Discord server. You can see you have all the resources there. That method was good to create something, but not for my project, because when I wanted to adapt that to my pose for the wings, for the pose that I selected for the wings, it was not in the way I wanted. So what I decided to do, I decided like to apply all the feathers that I already created with that method. You can see that we have like layers in and out. Here one row of feathers, and then in we have one group of feathers and out one group of feathers, the same for this one. And I decided to start to change the shape of those wings. I play with nodes, I play with curves, a lot of curves, to create here the feathers the way I wanted to be for my wings. I also duplicate and start to fill these gaps here to make it sense between the inner and the outer sides. And for the borders here, for the border of the feathers, I create like a mesh, the mesh that I create maybe for the final body. And the thing is that I use hair particles. Yes, I created just one simple feather or two versions. No, one simple feather, and I use that as the object, and I start to play with the comb tool, and of course that also later, after that later, I needed to start, because I had too much feathers. I needed to delete, to add maybe also this with the local transformation, change the direction of some feathers. That is what I did for the feathers. It was a lot of work. And also after I did that, I duplicate, I think, just because the feathers are the same. Maybe I changed a little bit, I don't remember. I think that they're the same. I just mirror this. I don't remember. I think that it is the same. And let me see here at the back. Look, the feathers are not this is just the feathers, but the main structure is here connected to her back. Look, look at that. Okay, so the feathers do not affected like the main character and the suit. Maybe here I should add more feathers here for this part. Maybe that was my fault. I didn't thought about that. I'm just going to paint with black. Now it is nothing that I can do. Maybe I can do, but no, I'm not going to do anything else, because I deleted these feathers here. So maybe here we should add maybe more feathers here, but no, I think that we're good. I'm going to leave it like that, or maybe add another big feather here to cover, just to fill this. But okay, I didn't do that, so now I'm not going to do that. These are the feathers. This is what I created. And I think that here I already decimated this, because this was a lot of topology. Yes, I think that I already decimated this. Okay, so that is for the hair was also another look, a lot of details here. We spent like 1 week creating this hair, I don't remember. You can see more details here. I smooth a little bit. Okay, that is what I created. The face was the same. At this point I wasn't sure about what I'm going to create here. I continued with the idea that here I'm going to have just a base and maybe some kind of rock here, something like that. But later I didn't like that. I spent like 1 week, I think, creating that base, or maybe some couple of days. And at the end I stopped with that idea and started working with the final idea, that is adding width and the base inspired by her planet. Yes, I think that at this time I didn't have an idea of what to do here. What else? What else I wanted to show you here? No, nothing else. Okay. Yes, at this point I wasn't sure about what I wanted to add here. Okay, let's continue. Base. Okay, here this is the first time where we talk about the base. Okay, so here I just hide some elements. So the idea was to have at the beginning a base, but and some kind of rock. I created some rocks in here, but that idea was really bad. I mean, in mind I had something better than that. So with the help of someone here in the community, I don't remember, but I remember that you were from India. I don't know if it was you, Girish. Someone here shared with me, in my religion you have a goddess, I don't remember the name, that she's defeating some kind of enemy, like in the same pose. I think that I don't have the references of those. No, I don't have. No, the Indian reference, I don't have it, but I was also okay. You're right, because in my religion we have something similar. I don't remember the name of this. I think that this is Satan, but this name of this angel, I don't know if it is Miguel or I don't remember. This angel was defeating Satan, I think, or something like that. So and the Indian reference was similar. So I said, okay, so maybe we share things through, maybe the religion adapt like this to their tradition, something like that. But the idea is the same. So the hero defeating the enemy. In my case, okay, I was great. That is something that we're going to do. The hero defeating the enemy. And for the enemy, you are going to say, why this enemy is like some kind of alligator, something like a monster, something like that. Okay. In mind, I have multiple ideas. For example, I was thinking about adding this kind of aliens, warrior aliens, because she was like having some ideas about I made some research, and I found that some like demons attacked her planet and destroyed part of her planet. I wanted to add those demons, like one here, another one here, and another one here at the front, because in my mind she's looking at the front. So why she's like she should have an enemy at the front, right? It makes sense, right? But then I said, no, let's make this like more symbolic, like she's winning and showing like to us her power. Not only she's fighting against him, because if she's fighting against him, she had to change her pose, like looking down, just like this. Here we have like a fighting scene. Here it is more like a symbolic thing, more like a fighting, but showing us something, showing to the audience, to the people that are looking at this piece of sculpture. She's trying to show us something. That is what I wanted to project. That is what I wanted. That is what I have in mind, and it makes sense. So where I get this enemy? Okay, I needed to find something, an enemy that. Let me see if I have something about the base here, because no, this was the ancient version of the base. I didn't like that. I don't know if I have the base here. I hide the wings because that was too much polygons, and here I think that is the same case. Look, I started to create the base, the bottom base. Maybe we're going to talk about the base later, okay? But here you have the reference of the base. Let's continue with the enemy, okay? The enemy. I created this with AI. When I was trying to continue with my work, I was taking screenshots and asking the AI to give me some examples of how this should be. But as I told you, friends, maybe the AI is a great tool. I like to have it like an assistant, like a teacher. No, not like a teacher, but something that show me at least a way to do things, not in 100% with the whole truth. No. For example, if I don't know about something, I ask her, please let me know what can I do to reach this, and she told me something, and then I made my own research. And also to improve maybe my English when I write something, my grammar, to check those kind of things. So I like to have the AI like my assistant. Maybe for textures, the AI is also good, but the thing is that with AI I am not happy like trying to create these kind of things. Why? It is not bad. Again, I am trying not to use the AI for this. Why? But why you should? Yes, you are right. But as an artist, my friends, I am like, I just notice that my creativity is bad. Is getting worse, my creativity, because of the use of AI. I remember when I created original characters with a friend when I was in high school drawing, and we had a lot of references, movies, WoW, World of Warcraft at that time. I used to read a lot of history books. I love history. I was like a freaky of history. And that is the process, that is the way to do things, to get references to create your original ideas. That is the right way. But now with AI you just say create this, and then you have. I don't like that, again, because that is making you worse. Your process, you are only like focused only on one thing, and you are lacking, and not in a good way. For me, not in a good way. You are only like focusing, okay, I'm 3D, I'm just only do 3D, but my friend, you are an artist, not only a 3D artist, you are an artist. To be an artist, you need to know other things, for example, how to look at references, how to create original ideas by you. And if you only use AI, I think you are going to fail, you're going to get worse. That's why I am trying not to use AI for this. For this project, I use it, and as you can see, this is not what I have in mind. Look at this thing. This looks like the Green Goblin. So, for example, at the beginning, look, this look good, the AI, but no. Also, I decided to create this kind of original idea for the base because look at for example, this. Look at this. Here you have a simple base. Okay, the idea is already done. Here you have Hawkgirl trying to fly with one leg up. So, I don't want to copy. And the other one is this. No, this one no. Where is the image? Where is the image? And look, I also look at this for the proportions, for the body proportions. Here I needed to look for some references for the female body to create the proportions. Yes, I forgot to. And most of the references were from fitness models. Let me see. What is the other one? Look. For example, if I added like a stone or something like that, or just a Hawk statue, I was like copy this reference, and I don't like that. I didn't like that. That's why I wanted to create an original idea. Okay, we're going to talk about our enemy. One moment, please. One moment. Okay, friends. So, for the enemy, I was trying to look. I told you the idea was to have these like demons. Another idea was I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't remember what other enemies, because like Hawker. Like Hawker is not. Their enemies are not like famous. For example, the main enemies from DC. For example, like Batman, like Superman, even the Flash, or even Aquaman. For Hawker is like you, or maybe the Green Lantern. For example, for Hawkman is like you don't know too much about the enemies. You only say the enemies from the Hawkman and Hawker are the same enemies of the Justice League, something like that. But I made some research and I found this enemy, Beath Rock. Beath Rock is the name of this enemy, and it was perfect for what I wanted, because he can change. One of his powers is metamorphosis. He can change his body. Okay, to talk about more about this enemy, I'll be back in a moment. I go for some water and we'll continue with it, okay? Let me stop that music because I don't want to have copyright issues. Okay, so I'll be back in a moment. I'll go for some water and we'll continue. Okay, friends, let's continue. So we were talking about Beat. This is the enemy that I chose for the project. I decided to go with this enemy because he has this power to change his body into almost anything. So I say, okay, this is perfect to create for the base here. You can see the reference. Let me see if I have no bottom base, no base 2. Maybe this is the one. Yes, look, this is like the base that I created. This base is inspired by her planet. Look, I took these screenshots from comics, from the DC Universe Online, the game. Look. Most of the references are from the one moment. Okay, let's continue. Okay, friends, so the base. This is the base. I used this as an inspiration for the base. Her planet, some structures from her planet, and it was perfect because the enemy Beat and is from her planet, the base from her planet. Okay, so all of this makes sense. This is why I chose this base. Look at the. Let me hide the base too. No, maybe we can select. Let me see this one. This Hawk status. Just like, for example, the spaceships that they use in her planet. Look. So here one, and here the other one here. No, that one no. No, that one. Okay, this is like the original design, the final design of the project. So this is what I created, as you can see. For Beat, the inspiration that I chose for Beat. Look, this is the comic look. Look at his face. And I remind about an actor. I remind a movie. I don't know. When I was a child, I don't know about you, but when I was a child, I remember that I used to watch a lot of times Blade 1 and Blade 2, where of my favorite movies, and I remember that this face, for me, it was like the vampire from the movie, from the second part of Blade. This actor, I don't know his name. Look, for me, this was perfect for the role. If in one occasion DC wants to create a live action with this character, so this actor was perfect for the role for me. Look. So I selected he for reference for my character, and I choose the almost demonic version like in the comics, like this one. It is not the same because mine is more like the human, like the actor, and I can see that I saw that in some references in the comic, Beat has like this in his face, but in other comics, in the original version, for example, he has nothing. So I go for this. I went for this version. So the traits, the facial traits, are inspired in this actor. And of course, because this is a monster, this is bigger than Hawkgirl, you can see. And I wanted, like, she's over him and he's trying to escape, something like that. This is what I wanted to project. And look. And look at that. So this was my idea of the idea that we created here, because it was also with your help for the project. Look, for me it is perfect. I use curves, I use sculpt, I use modeling, and I wanted to say, to create a version of this character, I play with two methods. The pose for this character. Okay, so I selected, I used the two methods, the method of the pivot points, of the pivot spheres, this one, to parent parts here, and the other method is to move directly to the final version, that was in this case for the legs. I use curves for this one too, for the body. Okay. So let's go to the next file. Don't save, of course. Okay, what we have here. Okay, friends, so for now on, I am not going to show you this because here I just started to add details, and this file is really big. I'm going to show maybe the final file. What do you say? We go with the final file. No. Let's see the separated files. Okay, so I decided to separate the files. Look here in 4 parts. I decided. Let me open a Blender file. Let's go with Hawkgirl. That is the bigger file. Let's go with the decimate version. Okay, friends, so here, as you can see, I already painted the character. I added a lot of details. Look at the details. I played here with alphas. Here you can see the details of the body. Here I already changed her face. I changed her face. The teeth, I make her more realistic. The eyes. Here is the painted version, the decimated version, because I decimate this. Now I see at this and I don't like this part. I should add here more feathers. Maybe I'm going to... No. I don't want to see that. Maybe I should add something here. Okay, so I painted here, look, alphas for the weapon, I add more polygons to add these details, like damage here for the armor. I improve here some parts of the suit. Look at that. And this is Hawkgirl, like in her final version. Decimated, of course, because I needed to decimate for the render. For the render version, I needed to decimate. You know what? I think that I'm going to add the other feathers here. I also added here some mesh for the hair here, because I didn't have something, and as you can see, we can see the hair, at least this part, so I needed to add something in here. Okay, let's continue with the next file. Don't save. Let's go with Beef. Let's go with Beef. Okay, so with Beef, look at his other final traits. Some veins. Oh, I played a lot with alphas here. Alphas, I merged here the tongue with this part. Look, alphas, a lot of alphas. Look at that. Alphas. I separated this was very challenging because, as you can see, this is a big mesh, and when you have a big mesh, it is you'll need more topology to try to add this kind of detail. So the strategy that I follow is to separate some parts of the body, like saying these are like coming from the inside, here is coming from the inside, here is coming. By doing this, I was allowed to divide the character and to use less polygons and have this level of detail. That's why I follow that strategy. This look, separated files, separated meshes, so separated meshes. Look here, only Here also with mask, I created this with mask. The teeth only modeling. I already showed you that. Here the eyes, the veins. And as you can see, the whole characters are with the basic colors. These are not basic colors because at the end I added more colors, but just a few to add maybe some shadows, something like that, to improve the final render. Okay, let's close this. Let's continue with the base. Let's go with the base. Okay, look, for the base, again we separated because I needed to add details. Look, here, like in these parts are the feet of bead, like damaging all of this metal, and this is metal, damaging these borders. Here I added some edges here with the other pieces, some kind of damage. Textures for the bricks, textures here, damage. I decided to have a full body, but it is better if you, for example, create a hole in here and start to add these details, because again you have less polygons, and that allows you to add more details. And also, another important thing, it is okay if you have a hole in here because the figure is not going to fall. You have the border, you have also another border here, and your figure is not going like to fall apart. No, the shape helps you to keep this straight. So metallic, concrete, a lot of materials in here. Let's continue with the next component. Oh, I don't see the video. I don't know what happened here. No, don't worry about that. Let's continue with hooks. Okay, friends, so and this is the final component of the character. These are the Hawk statues. And about the Hawk statues, again I play with concrete, with metallic pieces. Here I was allowed to add all the details that I wanted. This part at the end, at the final version, the render version, I decided to keep this as a light. For the render, it was for render purposes. And look at that. Metallic. Look at the damage of the bead is doing here. Let's go to the other one. Here, more damage. Remember that bead, look. Bead is with these nails here in the monster part of his arm. So he's damaging these parts. That's why I sculpt all of this damage. This is already decimated, just in case. I decided to add those borders. What else? Yeah, just of course I deleted some parts that we're not going to see. And this is the last component of the character. Let's open the last file on save. Let's go to the final file. I'm not going to open the render preview because there is a lot of info here. Maybe I can change to Eevee, and in Eevee I am allowed to show you. This is the other camera that I selected. So here you see let me select the other camera. But I think I'm not going to save this. So here I added the background, the lights. I added 2 lights here, 2 fill lights. These lights are for support. Here, let me see if I can show you here is perfect. The attribute. Okay, here as you can see, I added some shadows here for bead, for the bricks. Look. One moment, the computer is working because it is too much information. Look. Here for the bricks, and for Hawkgirl the same. I added some extra like shadows to her skin. Here you can see the eyes like black because I added an extra layer, an extra component for to make it transparent for the render. Let me go to material. Here you have and let's move the render here. Just the render. Where is the render? Final rendering here. I'm going to delete this later. So this is the final version. Maybe let's leave it like that. Don't worry. Okay, and this was the final version of our character, the final render. Okay, friends, and this is the final project, the final version of the project. You can see here that I added some glow for the composition at the end, the render. I choose a filmic, I think. Filmic. Let me see what properties I added. The noise. Maybe if I delete the noise, we can have like a little more of realistic here on the skin, because her skin looks like too soft. Maybe. And look, display filmic medium low contrast. This is what I selected. This is what I selected for the settings. One moment, please. Okay, I'm back. So that's all, friends. You can see I added the fill light, the backlight, the key light, sorry, the key light. And the extra part of the render, the extra special detail of the composition, that allow me to add this kind of glow. Here I use an emissive material. You can see the metal for the. I create multiple materials, something with less roughness, with more roughness, with the metallic materials. Here some shadow, and that was the final part of the project, as you can see. I don't know how I'm going to print this. Believe me. How to create an STL file for this? I'm going to create a small version that you're going to lose a lot of detail, of course, but that is the only thing that I have in mind. I believe me, I don't have an idea of what to create for STL files, because I don't know. I need to think a lot of how I'm going to code this. For example, for Hawkgirl, it is going to be easy because I can say, okay, I'm going to separate one wing, another wing. Here the arm. We can play with that. But here, my friend, here is the thing. How I am going to divide this. Divide in a way that, how I'm going to split this in a way that allow me to connect easily when I print. This is going to be really, really difficult. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Believe me, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know. For example, I can divide this part. Yes, this one is, I can split this and leave this alone. The only thing that I have in mind right now. The rest of the things, how I'm going to split this without destroying the design. You know why this is difficult? Because you can see the border also, you have like an inner part here, and it is the full mesh also in this part. So if you print, how you're going to connect that? You're not going to be able to do that unless I have no idea. No, because I have these borders. No, I don't have idea. I don't have idea of how I'm going to do this. No. Oh, my friend, no. At least I'm going to create the render options, and maybe I'm going to sell the final files, because the STL files, no, I don't have an idea of how I'm going to split this, and I'm sure that someone that want to print this kind of file, he or she is going to create his own version to split the model and to print it. I know that I always say, okay, print it like you are going to print. Believe me, in multiple figures that I uploaded, most of the STL files that I uploaded, I'm not going to use something like that. I always want to create another version, more complex, of course. Okay. So let's open the camera again. Here we are back. One moment please. Okay, here we are back. So friends, that's the whole project. As you can see, it is a lot of work. Hawkgirl, 169 days. Yes, friends. So that's all. As you can see, a lot of work, a lot of details. Sorry, I am watching the news. That's why I'm looking at here the phone. I have my phone here, just in case. Look, I am watching on my phone, just in case. I always like to watch the news when I am working here on 3D. Okay, friends. So that's all. I enjoyed the process. We learned a lot of things. For example, that was my first time working with geometry nodes. I am not learning completely geometry nodes. It is really difficult. Hello, welcome. It is really difficult, but we did it. As I always said, there are a lot of things that you can improve, of course. For example, you can maybe the feathers that you have in the back that I don't know why I missed that detail, because I delete those parts. I don't know why I missed that. No, I don't know why I missed that. Maybe no, I don't have feathers there, and I forgot about adding the missing feathers in that part, but that is a detail that maybe if you want, you can do it. If you ask me, I will add it. I will add some feathers there. Yes, I will definitely do that. Also something that I forgot. We tried to use an idea that here a friend in the community said, that was like to create a brush, and with that brush to add the details here for bead. We tried that. I understand that maybe with the previous here I changed from different Blender versions. I started with Blender 4.2 and then I ended up with Blender 5. I think that I tried to add in Blender 4.4 that brushes, those special brushes, and it was not the way as I expected. And about the process of how to create that, I also try it in the character in bead in the back, I think, to create these things here in the back. No, it didn't look good for me. And also I try it in the arm, here in the arm, that looks like monster. No, and I just continue with alphas. Okay, friends, so that's all. Please let me know your thoughts. Okay. So, yes, friends, yes. Maybe if you have a 3D printer, and please let me know about your works. Maybe we can talk about how we can print this character. I am having some ideas about some projects in mind. Yes, but I don't know, friends. Let's see how the other projects, maybe if new projects appear. I don't know. We'll see. I have some thoughts in mind that I want to share with you, but I need to learn first, of course, to share with you. And also that includes a 3D printer, but a cheap 3D printer that allowed me to try to create some mechanical pieces, something like that. So I'm learning a new software that is called FreeCAD. That is something that I want to share with you. Maybe I'm going to focus only on that, how to learn that for a while. Later I want to try to continue with games. I really want to create my game. So let's see if this year I learned how to create games. We're going to use low poly assets, of course, don't worry. And about the project of tomorrow, that we're going to start tomorrow, friends, please help me with ideas. I have some ideas, but I'm going to, right now I have to continue with the Kick stream, but at evening I'm going to start searching for new info, for new ways to prepare the material, because I don't have anything in mind right now. I have some ideas, but maybe at the end I am going to start with nothing and we are going to end with something, just like we do. But why I wanted to say that with you, and I ask for your help, because I understand that by doing that it takes time, and I know that you like to have like small projects, but small projects, if you ask me for an environment only for render, we can create a small project, but it is only for render. We can try to do something a little bit better. I don't know, maybe that allow me to sell the assets online. That's what I want. Okay, friends, so with that being said, I think that we finish the streaming for today. In a few minutes we'll continue on Kick with the other project if nothing happens again. So please, if you are new, remember to subscribe, give it a like, share this content with others, leave a comment below. Please follow me on my other platforms, Twitch, Kick, and my social media accounts, X, Instagram, TikTok. You can find me as Sarko. Remember, you have the same username that I have here. You can find me online. You can join our Discord server where you can share things about 3D games. What else? I'm going to try to create some more time lapses of the projects that I already finished, and also I have an idea of the shorts, the new way to create shorts. But I'm going to try. You'll let me know if you like that or you don't like it. What else? I have an idea of another video. I already have the main script. I just have to polish the final part of the script and to record, and of course to edit the video and to create the thumbnail. I have like a lot of work to prepare that video, but that is also a video that is on hold that I want to share with you. Maybe a time lapse, and then I'll share with you that video. What else? If you want to know what kind of computer I have here, you have the KitCon link in that site. You are going to find all the components that I use for my PC. Those links are going to send you in that site. You have a lot of links, and those links are going to send you directly to Amazon, where you're going to find more information, of course. What else? And if you want to support the channel, I have to be honest with you, my friends, the number of views of the channel are really bad and are getting worse. I'm only going to focus here on 3D, not more gameplays. If you want me to continue watching, I understand that some people here in the community join to the channel or support the channel for the gameplays, but I need to focus only one thing for the channel, because most of the good numbers that I had was for gameplays. Some people joined to the channel for gameplays, but I'm thinking about creating a new channel only to play games and to share things about games. I really like to do that, but Now the main thing is this 3D and make projects. We'll continue on Twitch and Kick. Again, if the project of tomorrow, because believe me, creating a 3D environment is really difficult. Not difficult, it is challenging. And remember, it is an environment, not only a building or two buildings. I want to create something that we can maybe use also on games. I don't know. We're going to render it and we're going to do it here, everything in Blender, but maybe you can use that maybe for a game later. I don't know. That's why I don't have like a clear idea of what to create. So I have to do a lot of research today. And that takes time. Believe me. I don't know if the same time of this project, and if it is too much, I'm going to start maybe sooner, or to only focus on mornings with one thing and then continue. No, the thing is that I really need time. I really need time for the other things. Maybe I'll try to start sooner the streams. And we'll continue with Twitch and Kick with the sculptors, with the small sculptures. That is maybe the idea right now. So friends, as well, please, I was talking about the numbers. Numbers of my views are really bad today. Are really bad. Please help me, or let me know what kind of content you would like to see. I want to say that because right now I am allowed to receive, for example, super chat, super stickers, super thanks, memberships. But if my numbers continue like dropping, the views, I think that maybe next week that opportunity that to get some money by memberships and all of that, I'm going to lose that, and I don't want that, of course. So please help me with the views, share the content, participate in the comments, write something, give it a like, please give it a like. Help me with that so we can continue doing this. I really want to share to do this, but if numbers, sometimes you need to understand when something is not working, and you have to accept that, and I don't want to go to that part. I believe that this channel will help you a lot by sharing you the process, the most important thing of a project. You can see good tutorials, the final versions, but all of that work here I am showing you. All of that work that it is, sometimes it is very tired, it is very, sometimes you want to say, okay, I don't want to continue with this. Those things I show you with my streams, the reality. Also you participate here and all those kind of things. So just please, for now I am allowed to receive super thanks, super chat, super stickers, memberships. Also we have a PayPal link, and even better, you can get one of my models. If you want an asset for your games and animation, you can visit my Turboscope store. If you want sculptors like this one, not this one, because right now I need to prepare serial files, and I think that maybe I'm going to create a less detailed version for the still files, or only upload the 3D the sculptor files. So I allow you to do whatever you want with the file. So you can visit my Cold's 3D store, and also you have Trailer, a third option where you're going to find both assets and sculptures. Sorry that I am having the microphone like this, because if I do this, I have to speak like this, so you can hear me. Believe me, the volume is like up, so I am like almost the microphone in my mouth, so you can hear me well. That's why I'm holding the microphone like that. Just so you have the Course 3D, and if you don't want something, maybe you have a friend that have a 3D printer, so please share my stores with them. Every time that I finish a project, I upload the files to the right stores. So remember, tomorrow we start a new project, a 3D environment, a modeling. This is completely modeling. We're going to do modeling, rendering, materials. I have to do the research because I don't have a clear idea, but the concept is something like abandoned city, zombie city, something like that. We'll see. Maybe I'm going to create a town, a village, I don't know. Something related to something not abandoned. Okay, friends, so that's all. We'll continue in a few minutes on Kik with the Powerpuff projects, creating the sculptures of the Powerpuff girls. And today I have to work on the research. Let's see if nothing happens, so tomorrow we start a new project, okay? Please give it a like if you're new. Subscribe, please, subscribe. So that's all. Thanks for coming. Subscribe. I know that I say that a lot of times that, but please subscribe to the channel and share this content with others and give it a like. And with that all being said, we finally close this chapter. The Hawkgirl project is completely finished, and you can visit the whole 169 days. So that's all. Thanks for coming. Please remember to subscribe and see you in the next one.